Okay, and we're back tonight, the Justin and Alicia show here.
Throwing you for a loop, doing it a little different time, a little different
Not on
day.
Thursday, but hey, better late than never. We're excited to have you here tonight on this Sunday evening.
That's right.
We decided we just had it. We couldn't go without going. I was talking to y'all this week and kind of sharing what's on our hearts. It's been a crazy busy week, and so we've let's see. Thursday night we had
several different meetings and all kinds of things going on. We were both tied up.
Networking and stuff, but it's been a week of just really looking at what we're doing, why we're doing it, and exciting about the opportunities we have going on. And the topic that we want to talk about tonight is the cost of freedom, counting the cost. What is freedom? We want to talk about freedom. We want to talk about that life does cost. You're going to pay it one way or the other. Mm-hmm. And so the importance of paying attention and focusing on what it's actually costing you, your lifestyle, what you're doing, and what are the costs? Do we even know what those costs are? Hey, Chad, good to see you tonight. And Catherine.
Hey, Catherine.
And Paul, good to see you this evening. So let's go ahead and think about it. It's going to be kind of like a conversation. Alicia and I are going to talk. We don't really have any script or anything really prepared except for just, some meditations, contemplations, and just observations, and just
and please
looking
comment
at life.
If you guys have thoughts and
hey, Rachel,
things
good
too.
to see you tonight.
Hey.
So I think the first thing what it comes down to is, what's freedom for you? What is freedom? I know, when I think of freedom, I think it's, the ability to do what I want, when I want, how I want, with who I want, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then ultimately, it's knowing why you're doing what you're doing. I think that's one aspect we don't really think about. Because you can give people freedom, and you could give them all the time, money, or whatever, and they could go out there and find themselves locked up in jail.
Right. Blow it.
Hey, Jesse, Brenda, the Gillies, good to see you all here tonight.
Hello.
And stuff. And so, knowing why is a really important aspect of freedom.
Yeah.
Because that's really going to help you define, what freedom is for you, what true freedom is. Hey, Rick, good to see you tonight. Because, one of the things that I've remembered when I think of freedom in the past is the idea that freedom without responsibility actually is chaos. Mm-hmm. Freedom without responsibility is chaos. So, you have to stop and think about, what is true freedom? Is freedom just like, boom, everything I need, everything I want, just to do anything, whatever feels good, whatever looks good, whatever seems good? That's not the kind of freedom we're talking about. We're talking about freedom to really live your purpose, your cause, to be able to choose what's more important in life, and to be able to ultimately maximize your time here and your relationships and your experiences, and basically not wasting your life with things that are temporal,
right,
or things that really don't matter, things that like one thing that I think really spurred or sparked this whole conversation for me was this week I was able to take my whole family to our closing lawyer's office. We have a property that we're closing on, one of our investment properties. And it was so cool because, I was like, hey, Alicia had come sign and stuff. And so I said, let's take the whole kids with us and come meet me at the office there. And we're going to go all sign the paperwork together. Let's hang out. And, it's part of my work. And it's the cool opportunity I have to be able to include my family in my work and what I do. Mm-hmm. And being able to just pull them, to take them, whenever we need to. Mm-hmm. Being able to stop and just, make the decision to include them and just take time off.
It's a big reason why we do have our own businesses and why we've chosen to be entrepreneurs. Is we want that freedom to be able to choose, not just that we're going to work or not work, but when we do, who we do it with. And there's been many times Justin's been able to take a kid or two with him, and use the time even for work appointments and stuff. Where you can't do that with.
And it's been so cool, even this year so far. I've been able to take quite a few trips to multiple places, and a lot of those trips were not planned. They were like last-minute trips, to where like a week out, someone called and says, "Could you please come to Vegas, and help me in this event or whatever?" And so I'm like, normally that'd be a huge deal, but because I've been able to structure my life, I'm living the Vital 7 lifestyle. I was able to just tell my secretary, Alicia, I said, I need you to clear my schedule. I'm leaving next Thursday, and I'll be coming back on Monday. So whatever appointments I had, I need you to just make a change. Free me up. And I went and bought a plane ticket, and boom, I was able to go. And before, that would have been unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of years ago, that would have been unheard of.
Right.
I would have never even thought that was possible. And I probably wouldn't have been able to do it because of either work or because of money. And so that's what we're talking about. What's true freedom and what's the cost? What's keeping you from experiencing this kind of true freedom? And, maybe you're in a situation where you feel like you've got what you want. You're happy, you're satisfied. But I would venture to say that if every person were to stop and really think about their perfect life, think about, what true freedom would be for you. I mean, what could you do right now if you didn't have any restraints of money or someone telling you had to be someplace or time or whatever it is? Would you make any changes? Yeah. And if you wouldn't, I would say that's awesome.
You're where you're supposed to be.
And
keep going.
Say keep doing what you're doing, because that's what life's all about, being able to do that.
Right.
But most of us, we're not there. It's completely opposite.
Right.
And it's been so cool that we've been able to talk and network with different people and talk to friends and for one, it's been cool that there's our circle. We're finding the people that we are encouraging each other and challenging each other. They're starting to take big steps of action in their life and their situations, their circumstances. In fact, there's one person, close friend, that they've been in law enforcement for over 14 years and been working up the ladder, the chain. And hey, Julie, good to see you tonight, and Dominic. Sorry, I missed a few of the other ones there.
Amy, good to see you too.
I get on a roll here. But anyways, it's so cool. I mean, this friend of ours, he's willing to step out of the security of the pensions or the retirement, the quote retirement, having a steady paycheck come in every 2 weeks and everything, he's willing to exchange that for the freedom of being able to, number one, not have a cap to where, because even as hard as he worked, he could like scope the whole rest of his career in that place where he was at and know that didn't matter how hard he worked, what he did, he would only be able to ever reach a certain level and get so high. And it would take a certain amount of time, and then have to be fortunate events, whatever. But it was not ultimately true freedom. What that opportunity provided, though, is it provided security. It provided a set income to where you could budget and you could live comfortably. You could be comfortable and stuff, but you couldn't really be free to really do anything more.
And time freedom.
And time freedom was a disaster. He never knew what his schedule was. It always seemed like he was never able to be with family on holidays or important weekend events. And every shifts would change every 2 weeks or so, and it totally throw the family lifestyle in a whirlwind. And so, that's the kind of stuff you had to look at. And that's what we're talking about. What is the cost that you're paying right now? Is it worth it?
Right.
I know that other investors or other successful entrepreneurs I've talked with, and they're older now, very successful, have tons of money, but they look back and see that they weren't able to be around their family, their kids. They weren't able to be around the first experiences of their kids, the first step, first taste of ice cream, or the first roller coaster ride, or the first play at the park, or whatever it is. Those first experiences are so cool that your kids, it's only a small blurb of time, and you cannot relive that.
Right.
There's so many things you cannot relive.
Right.
We've been talking about even for our relationship, as a married couple. And we've talked about this before. That mindset of, I've got to do all this stuff now and kill myself and suffer in order so then I can, down the road, finally live life and enjoy. But, that's the kind of what we're trying to break, that kind of mental mindset, because we believe there's a way you can enjoy life along the way, starting now, whatever your position you're in, wherever you're at. And yes, it's going to take some drastic steps of action. You might need to change a career. You're going to have to give up some things. It's going to be an exchange. And it might be that you're going to have to, and it will be that you're going to be having to work really hard. You're going to have, because life costs. You're going to pay for it sometime.
Right.
You're going to pay for it. And so, but it's stupid to just be paying for it, but never getting a return for what you're paying. And that's what we're trying to talk about here today, is true freedom, and looking at your life and position yourself to where everything you pay ultimately comes back or has a return. You're gonna get back in greater rewards, and it's ultimately going to put you in a position, in the place that you want to be to really experience freedom.
Exactly. And even as entrepreneurs, small business owners, which technically, we're supposed to have the freedom, time freedom or whatever, we found ourselves especially this last year, just like, okay, well, this still isn't freedom, you know? And so we've been reevaluating and just, you know, what can we do to enlist other help, to hire other things out, to give us true freedom.
Well, I think
So
there's three things. There's three categories of why you don't experience this freedom, all right? The first one is fear and security. And so that's one of the biggest ones for most people. They don't experience because of the fear of stepping out, the fear of the change, the fear of letting go to that solid little budgetable paycheck. Small little paycheck, but at least it's budgetable. It's there. They can count on it. And they can figure out their year that if they live a certain way and they have their little budget and they buy the same foods they always buy, they take the same amount of dates or trips. They get their 1 week long vacation a year they look forward to. That's their big bang for the year. After that, it's just work, get through the year so they can get to it again, And they have everything budgeted out. And they can live a decent life. They can live in a nice house, mid-level house. And, have some nice luxury. They have a TV, got a decent car. I mean, but you're at an average level. You're at this level that most people in society find themselves, and they don't ever achieve. They never get past it.
It's really survival.
It's basically survival. It's day-to-day, paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you got a couple paychecks ahead if something were to happen. Hopefully you got a little bit of return of an emergency fund. But why do people live that way? Why do they live? I mean, you can find a lot of the older generation that went through the Great Depression and everything, that experienced the loss, that they're big time into just pulling their money in, stuffing it in pillowcases, hiding under rocks, and just said, get a good secure job, with good insurance, good benefits, or whatever, good health insurance, all this stuff, and just settle in. Don't rock the boat. Don't rock the ship, just stay stable, survive, and live a good life. And I'll tell you, there is so much more life that we could live.
That's right.
And that's been the biggest thing for us this last couple of years, I think. And that's one thing, is a fear and security. But the second thing, I think, that keeps everyone, which we're getting to next, would be mindset and knowledge. I mean, so many people don't realize how much more they could have. They don't realize how much more they're capable of. They don't even realize the opportunities out there in the world that they could even be a part of. And that's where, it first started with fear for us, but then we were willing to step out, become entrepreneurs, kind of break through that next step and stuff. We were able to. But then the next journey for us has been how big, how much, how high. And that's where it's been so helpful for us as I've been coached, and Alicia's been coached and being coached and networking with other power women and people that are pushing us, back. Yep, Dominic said, I quit my job at Pepsi and started my own business, never looked back, so much more freedom and growth. Absolutely, man. That's what we're talking about, Yep. But for us, we've been at the last couple of years, because before we had stepped out and started our own businesses and stuff. So, but I think even fear and insecurity did kind of hinder us from going full bore. Yeah. But we did pretty good, and we did, above average, I think.
Right.
We had business going on, we had real estate investments going on, and stuff. But the biggest thing I think that has the last couple of years been working on is the mindset and the knowledge, the fact of learning what actually is possible. And possible for us. I mean, we're both from, not very, rich families, pretty much middle class to lower as far as income, and lived a good life, decent life. We didn't lack anything really. We're very fortunate for our parents and our upbringing and stuff, but we didn't have, opportunities to go experience crazy things or things that you just see on movies or that you dream about or you think that, wouldn't that be awesome or cool? And, we're very limited in the experiences that we were able to take, the trips we were able to take, where we were able to go, what we were able to eat, and whatever it is. But so mindset and knowledge, is the next thing that keeps us back. And that's why it's so important that who you hang around, who you learn from, who you're coached by, right? That's the one cool thing that I've been being coached by David Fabricius and other individuals and hanging out with them and going and given opportunities. It is just like blowing my mind of the opportunities that I could be a part of or that I could actually experience as a person, as a family. That I could own a house like that, or I could actually go on a trip like that, or I could have that kind of money, or I could give that much, or I could speak to that big of a group, or whatever it is. I mean, things that I just never dreamed possible because of my mindset was so small and limited by my surroundings, upbringings, or whatever it was. And so that's the second thing that keeps people from experiencing this true freedom. Anything to add to that?
It's good. Keep going.
The third thing that I think, and this is where we're at even now still, is like we talked about. One of the biggest reasons that keeps people from experiencing freedom is they may have a mindset, know what they want, know that they can, have big dreams, or know that they're capable of so much more. They may have the willingness to actually step out and try things, and be an entrepreneur. They might be willing to leave just a 9-to-5 job and be able to start their own business, work from home, or whatever it is. But they don't have a plan. And like we alluded to before, freedom without responsibility or a plan or a system, it reaps chaos.
Yep.
It actually has the opposite effect of what you're wanting. And you can get yourself in a freaking disaster if you just jump out, quit your job, just go full bore and don't have a good solid plan. Mm-hmm. Or if you just go and say, you know what, screw all this work and stuff, I want to go hang out with my family and kids and we're just going to have a good time. I mean, how long is that going to last?
It doesn't pay the bills for too long.
And pretty soon the kids, they're going to get to the place where they don't want you there if you have no house, you have no food.
That's right.
And you can't do anything, you don't have clothes. I mean, it's going to become a disaster. And stuff, so you have to, and if you don't have a plan, then it's going to keep you from really, truly being able to experience freedom and being able to even live the lifestyle you want, even if you're willing to step out, even if you could, own the highest skyscraper in New York City or whatever it is. And stuff. So those are three things to think about. Where are you at? And, what kind of plan do you have in place? And how do you develop a plan? And that's one of the biggest things that we've seen even this last year, is that I've been being coached by my life and business coach. And as we've been living and established in our family the Vital 7 system. That is such a great system because it incorporates all the Vital 7 areas of your life in order to really be able to have that plan, that grid, that track that you can put that train on and plow, right over a mountain, down the hills, through the hills, where if that train didn't have that track of a plan or a system of responsibility and focus and goals and direction, then it would just be like this awesome, powerful engine machine, but sitting there to spin its wheels in the mud. Yeah. It wouldn't be able to pull the load or even do anything.
And living life along the way as we're doing it has been a huge, it's not just goals in all these areas, but living life in all these areas as we're going and achieving our goals. And
And Catherine says, so the first step to save money to hire a coach. I'm stuck struggling and so capable. In fact, let me see here. Sorry, can't read. Capable of so much more and fulfill purpose of empowering others with my story. What do you think, Lisa? I mean, ultimately, yes. I mean, that's how it was for us.
We didn't have.
And part of counting the cost of freedom is it does cost.
Right.
There is no such thing as a free ride.
Right.
Now you can get some help along the way. You can get some like for us, we're happy to talk with you, give you some thoughts, give you some ideas and stuff. But honestly, what we've found for us and for others is that unless you have skin in the game, or unless you're ultimately paying something that you don't. People don't really value it.
It makes you a little more accountable, yeah.
Yeah, they don't value it, and they don't treat it as seriously, and they don't, appreciate it as much as those that actually. And also, if you get just free stuff, then it's basically worth what it is. What you pay for it. I've found, and
well, here's another thought. So freedom, you can either pay for by your time. You're just putting your time in, and you're learning along the way on your own, and you're experiencing it, and you're really paying for your freedom by your time or your money, or there's different ways to pay for your freedom too. And so if you can use some of your money to help you accelerate to get to your freedom faster, that's another way
you can learn through the school of hard knocks. And that doesn't really take a lot of money. It takes a lot of money, but it doesn't really take money up front right now.
Right.
But it ultimately ends up costing you way more money. Plus, it ends up costing you all your time, which that's the most valuable asset you have, and it's non-replaceable. And so, and as far as Catherine's situation there, and if you have no money at all, then there is options. I mean, you can talk to certain people. There's lots. I can definitely direct you guys to. There's tons of free stuff. I mean, you can go online. There's free podcasts. There's tons of podcasts. You can go out there and listen to podcasts. There's tons of free information on social media, Facebook, YouTube. There's tons of stuff out there. So I mean, there's no excuse not to start really learning. Figure out what it is you're after and start just learning different things, educating yourself. But the main thing that especially coaching does, as soon as you can get to the place where you can get a specific person or coach, they can help. It's just a relationship aspect of things. You need that relationship. That person can help really get to know you and you specifically, and help you apply these truths that are out there, and help you sort through all the stuff out there, and help you compile all the stuff out there. And ultimately what a coach does is it does save you time. Because you can spend a ton of time out there just sorting through and listening to all this stuff, or you can go to someone that's already done that, or has already worked with the other people that have done that, and has kind of compiled the best of the best, or what they found to be a good system to use, and just expedite things and take off and save yourself time. And that's what, that's ultimately why I got involved with Fortune Builders. It's a real estate investment mentorship program and trainings and systems. We were already doing it in real estate investing. About 4.5 years ago, we were already doing rehabs. We've been doing it for 10 years, and real estate investing to a certain level. But then when I heard about Fortune Builders,
it would take us to the next level.
I was like, hey, I would rather pay a chunk of money and be able to tap into a proven system that would expedite things. And it did. It took us to where now, we went for 6 or 7 years of just doing a couple rehabs a year or whatever, maybe, to where then we got to where we were doing 4, 8, 16. And then, of course, we regrouped and refocused, and we got into the commercial, and now we're doing, 90.
We got some more commercial training. So it's been neat, each step of the way, different trainings, different coaches, different, the needs are going to change. But.
Yeah, and then along with that, the life coaching, it helps me align my focus and get my life in a situation in order to where, I wasn't just killing myself with work.
Right.
I was actually able to be able to spend time with the family.
Yep.
Not feel guilty about spending time with myself. Be able to focus on, I never had the ability, it seemed like, to fit in working out or, physical training type stuff. And now I work out pretty much every day.
And just personal development, the reading and all that kind of stuff.
Realizing that mental is one of the vital 7. You need to be able to be reading, building your mentality, your mindset, your mind, socializing. And, all these different things are all part of the vital 7 that you need to be a part and stuff. And so basically, what we want, our conversation tonight is basically coming down to, what do you spend, what's life costing you? And what are you giving up in exchange for what you're getting in return? And is it the most important things at the end of your life? We talked about a couple weeks ago, we've been talking about, if you're at your deathbed or at the end of your life, and you look back on your life, could you say that you truly loved? Could you say that you truly lived? Could you say that you truly contributed with your life? Or would you say that, you never got there, or you hadn't, or you were hoping to someday? What is it? What's life costing you?
Right.
When you see your kids when they're all grown and gone, are you going to look back with regret and say, my success right now or my money right now costs way too much for what it's worth right now? And in relation to, or, in exchange for, the time I missed out with family or my wife or other friends or whatever it is, or the time when you were in the height of your youth or your physical health. If you always had the dream that you want to be a athlete, a skier or a snowboarder or something, but you better not wait till you're 60 or 80 to do that. You better work that into your life sooner, right now. And so the sooner that you can get a plan,
no time like the present,
and be willing to expand your mindset, and willing to overcome your fears and take action, that's when you're going to start experiencing true freedom. And true freedom is going to look different for every person. Right. Every person is going to look a little bit different. And that's what makes it such a cool, unique opportunity for us. And that's why it's so cool to have to network with other people, because we all kind of bring a whole different perspective, a whole different element, a whole different conversation, a whole different gift or skill set, contribution. Each one of us has a special contribution to make. So I want to ask you, so do you right now feel trapped? Do you feel like you don't know what to do? Do you feel like you don't have freedom? Because I know Alicia shared with me about a group of ladies she was spending some time with, and one lady she talked to, tell kind of how that conversation was.
So it's interesting. I mean, she has a great job, and she loves the company and stuff, but it really hit me. She is very limited in what she can say, what she can do online. I mean, it's a very tight company that has a lot of rules and regulations, and I don't know, it just kind of hit me funny, like it affects even her personal life. And just thinking about, all the jobs that's true for, that, when you say yes to a job, to an employer, your time, your freedom, like so much is controlled by what they say you can do and can't do. And so that's a big part of freedom.
Yeah.
Are you willing to pay that kind of a price? And if so, that's fine, but just taking
I mean,
that
all
into
we're wanting you to do is
consideration.
we're wanting
Just
you to
think
do
through
what
for
we've
yourself.
been doing, is
Right.
count the cost.
Right.
Just stop and count the cost.
Right.
Look at where you're going. Look at where you're going to end up, and look what it's costing you. And that's one thing in investing, real estate investing, that we have to do all the time.
Right.
Because do you know what one of the biggest principles in real estate that you have to be aware of? And this is the one that I've learned the hard way, that I constantly keep reinforcing and seeing it's so true, is that in any kind of real estate, you make your money when you buy it. Mm-hmm. You make your money when you buy it. Because if you don't buy a piece of property right at the very beginning, then you are setting yourself up for failure, for defeat. It doesn't matter what you do. If you start in the hole, or if you don't plan on the issues that are going to arise or going to come up, then it takes, for one, you're going to lose money in the long run. And for one, it takes all the fun out of it. I've been involved in projects to where, I knew after I'd gotten into it that it is going to be a bum deal. And I'd done my best to try to regroup and plan, to be creative, and try to, make something happen out of it. And you can make some changes and be creative and stuff. But let me tell you, for so many times, it takes all the fun out of that project or that opportunity for me. And Alicia, there have been a few projects we've been in, and I'm like, these projects they're drags.
I know it's going to be a miserable couple months.
It's drags. But I'm gonna power through. I'm gonna get it done. I made a decision. I got involved in it. I committed to it. I'm gonna see it through.
Right.
And yes, all my investors will get their money back, but I'm gonna be one that's not gonna make what I think my time is worth.
Right.
And but it's because I got excited and paid too much, or whatever it is.
Right.
And so the same thing with your life. It all comes down to what you do right now is going to determine the experience that you're going to experience the rest of your life. Yeah. And so, yes, it's going to be, if you really want true freedom, it's going to cost, and it's going to cost hard. Mm-hmm. And, you want to be able to make sure that you are paying that now and as soon as you can. Another quick example I want to give is this whole concept of your 401ks and your IRAs. So many people have this idea that you want to have tax-free money that you want to put in the IRA or the 401k, and then later on, you can supposedly pull it out and not have to pay as much tax. And I'm telling you right now that is, to me, and when I've talked to other successful people, is a flawed perspective, because you're going to end up paying more tax down there than if you were to do like a Roth IRA and pay the tax now, put that money in a IRA and let it gain, and then it's all tax-free after that. You don't have to worry about paying taxes anytime you take it out or pull it, and especially if it's involved in a self-directed IRA. And we can talk about that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff we talk about in my coaching in the Vital 7, and when it comes in the financial aspect and business aspect and stuff. But, we've been brought up in this whole mindset of push it off, push off the cost, push off the expenses right now. And ultimately it comes to bite you in the butt, and that's the worst time to have to pay any kind of tax at all, when you're older and you don't have any income coming in, or you're needing every penny, every dollar. And then you got to take that chunk of tax out. And you're forced to use it when you even don't want to. And so anyways, there's so many different areas. There's so many areas that our culture has just brought us up so wrong.
Yeah.
It's just been so crazy to look. I mean, we have been so brainwashed and mind just and stifled. It's almost like, we're all being raised to be used.
Yep.
And we are. I mean, if you don't believe there's a system out there trying to train people to keep them under control and keep them from experiencing freedom, but they packages it up as your own boss freedom and stuff. But it's so sad to see the people, and so many majority of people out there, the average person is so controlled, so bound from their mindset to their lifestyle, to their job, to what they can do, to how many kids they can have, and all this kind of stuff. And that's the kind of lifestyle we want to just get rid of. We want to break free, and we want to experience true freedom. I feel like we want a revolution. We want to get out there and just show people a different way, and it can happen. But the problem is that, there's steps of action that need to be taken, and it doesn't happen naturally. You have to have a passion, a cause, a purpose bigger than the pain that it's going to take, because it's going to take some pain. It's going to take pain and suffering, and it's going to take denial of pleasures and all kinds of stuff. For a season. But it's for a season. But that's all part of counting the cost. So anyways, any final thoughts on that?
I think you got it.
So we just want to kind of get you to think out of the box and kind of stop and look at where you're at right now, and look at where you're heading, and look at how you structure your life. And I want to make sure that I want you to look and make sure that there is no cap at all. That the sky is the limit for you, because I want you to experience all that life has to offer. I want you to experience your full potential, because the world needs every bit of contribution that you can give it.
That's right.
Because you are unique, you are special, you have a message, you've got a purpose, you've been put here for a specific purpose that only you can achieve, that only you can provide. And we need that contribution, we need that. And we don't want any way to have that stifled by yourself, by others, by our society, by anything and stuff. So, if you need help, have any questions, I'm happy to help you. If I'm not the best person to help you with, I'll be happy to direct you to some other person or place that will be able to help you effectively. Because it all comes down to, you need to be able to find the right help for you, the right steps, the right system, and start investing wisely with your life. Because this is your life. And it's a sobering thought, isn't it?
It is.
It's a sobering thought. This is your life.
Now.
You have one freaking shot at it. And so how are you going to take that shot? You've heard the sayings, like, I think it was Abraham Lincoln or George, one of those guys, it doesn't matter which ones they were, but they said if he was going to be able to, or had to chop a tree down, then he would take the first 2 hours or half the time, whatever it took, to first sharpen the axe before he just went out there chopping the tree. And the same thing for your life. It's worth taking some time right now to invest in yourself. Even though it looks like you're not going to return for it. Even though it looks like nothing's happening. But if you're willing to take that time and do that, sharpen the axe, then when you actually do go to start chopping, you're going to be so much more effective and so much more exciting, and you're going to have so much more of an impact, and stuff is going to happen so much quicker. And so that's the message.
Yep.
That's the message. Count the cost of freedom. What is freedom costing you, and what is freedom to you? And I'll be curious to hear your comments and see your comments, and let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep in touch, and we will look forward to being in touch with you guys next week. Adam says real estate and gold. There you go, man. I like it and stuff. So anyways, y'all have a good night. Just some thoughts we wanted to leave with you, and look forward to continuing this journey together.
That's right.
Y'all
have
take
a
care.
wonderful week.